In today's show, we discuss how can America be great again when it never really was.
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Taya Boya. Taya, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you keep safe and well.
What the hell, Tony? What you gonna do, eh? Hello, audience, and hello
Yay!
to whoever it
Yay!
is. Stop that. Hello, hello to. I'm gonna smack him, man. I swear. Next time we meet, honestly, man. Hello
This
to.
is my brother from another mother. Come on, you can't be smacking your brother here. Come on.
Well, if you keep getting on my, you know what, man. You're asking for it, to be honest.
Oh dear.
Hello to our listen. I believe it's the one gentleman or lady, who knows, in Tripoli.
I know you. I like this segment that you're picking people out from wherever they're listening in the
Yes.
world. Actually, that's quite nice. I like
And
that.
it would be lovely if you could write into us. Just tell us who you are, and we'll just say hello. Anyway, today's fact, which I find, uh, hmm,
Doesn't
it's
sound very convincing.
it's it says a fact. The law is on the statute books, and this is in France, by the way. The law is on the statute books, but it isn't enforced. So, although it's a fact that there is such a law, it's not really enforced. And if you go to France, you find yourself in France, you needn't be worried that if you are kissing someone goodbye or hello,
Right.
specifically on a train platform, you won't be arrested. But it is technically illegal to kiss someone on a train platform in France.
Really? Because part of
Really?
their greeting is to kiss. I mean,
Yes.
Italians do it, French
Mm-hmm.
do it, Spanish do it. So they've got a law that says you can't do it, but only on a platform.
Only on a train platform. And this was introduced, and there's the URL for you. This was introduced just at the start of the not at the start, sorry, just a few months into the First World War, because it
Okay.
was causing delays for the troops to get
Ah,
started and going off to the war front.
right.
And the authorities said, "Look, man, you got to do all that kissing at home before you
On
get to the
platform.
platform,
Right, right, right.
because
I
you're holding
see.
up troop movements, which
That's
of course
probably
was,
why it's not enforced now, even though
yeah,
the
it's
rule.
obviously after the war, just
Yeah,
falling
yeah,
off.
yeah.
Yes.
I quite like that one, though. I must
Mhm.
admit, that's quite a
There you go.
nice one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yes, you asked me, you said I sound tired. It's not tired. I've got a sore throat. I've got a cold. I'm not going to say it's man flu. It's not man flu, but my voice is a little bit uh,
Mm,
raspy today. I don't know if that's nice. I don't know what our listeners think. But
not gonna miss
anyway, yeah, it's a
anything.
little raspy today, but I'm all right.
Mm.
I'm all right. Right, before we talk about the topic of today, we've actually got some new TNT merchandise. Yes. Woo,
Hooray!
woo, woo. Yes. So we'll make that available to you once it's available to us, but it's available soon. And it's just mugs initially, and there's three different types, so we will share what they look like on somewhere on our webpage somewhere, so you'll find it. So if you are interested, please have a look, and we can, yeah, maybe you can get hold of it and see what you think. It's a TNT mugs, and you can have it for your tea or your coffee. You will love it. So yeah, look out for that. We will put some information around in the blurb so you can find a little bit more about them.
I'll just help you out though. The little bit of a jingle. Not It's not a jingle. What you call in advertising words that go with an advert? Just like blurb. Is that it?
Oh, what? The tagline.
Oh, tagline. Okay.
The tagline, yeah.
Yeah, it's dynamite in it.
Indeed, indeed. But anyway, there's the tagline on the cups are actually different. So you have a
Hey, thank
look,
God.
you have
Yes.
a look and see what you think. So anyway. Right, let's move on with today's topic. And today we're
Hmm.
discussing how can America be great again when it never really was?
Hmm.
Well, that's the question anyway.
Hmm.
Tayo, you came up again with this one. So, what's your view on this question?
Well, Donald Trump is running around saying he wants to make America great again, and I was watching him on television when he well, it wasn't television. I was watching him somewhere, and sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not living in the UK, if you don't know anything about the UK system, over here we have to pay a license fee if you're watching live TV. So I don't pay the license fee, and obviously
Why are
when I
you
said I
being
watch it on,
illegal?
sorry.
Are you illegal?
No, because if you don't watch live TV, you're perfectly fine.
Okay.
And I just caught myself saying I was on watching it on TV, but I don't watch TV. So it was I just corrected myself, and I wanted to explain to the audience why is that a problem. So what I think we all did. Most of the world, most of the world watched Donald Trump, the president of the United States, and I believe the first president is he the first president ever to use a swear word.
Yes, on live TV.
Wait, okay, so like I said, it wasn't live or anything, but I wasn't expecting it. I was
No.
just watching the news report and said, oh, yes, what are we doing to do about Iran and Israel? And then he goes, I don't know what the. I was like, sorry, what? Did he really
Yeah,
see?
did he
Did
really say that?
he
And
go
he
back again?
did. He did.
Sorry?
Yeah, he did. Use
He
the F
absolutely did.
expletive.
So
Yeah.
that second way you go, even Trump. And then I started thinking to myself, well, this is the gentleman. This is the chap who's going to make America great again. And that little voice in my head just said, yeah, but were they really ever great?
Hmm.
And then another voice said, let's take this to Tony because this sounds like this is going to be something we'll be able to debate.
Hmm.
Starting with the most important question, otherwise everything else doesn't flow. What does it even mean, make America great again? What is a great nation?
Well, that's a very good point.
Let
That's
me
a
just finish.
very good
Sorry.
point. Yeah.
I'll get out of the way soon.
Go on then.
You probably don't remember, but we've had sorts of this conversation before when we were talking about Great Britain and the Empire and so on.
Yes, we did.
And I said that to me, a great nation was one that was relatively happy and didn't run around making a nuisance of itself. So I chose Tonga, I believe,
I can't
as being.
remember who you chose
I
last
chose
time we
Tonga.
discussed it.
Tonga, they're just the happy islanders. They got their plantains. Yeah, they eat a bit too much. Sure, they got a diabetes problem, but you know what the hell? They're not bugging anyone, and they're happy little campers. And that to me is a great nation.
Hmm. I
So
think
what does great mean? So I'm going to hand over to you now. What does great? What is a great nation?
well, that's a very, very good question
Mm.
because it has to be viewed in a number of contexts because you have to, the population have to believe it, but also a great nation has to be compared to others. And then you've got almost like in you, not explicitly a league table, but countries would sort of put themselves higher and lower based on certain statistics, I guess. And even though there's no real definitive table out there that makes a country great, you can look at different measurements of a country on how it compares to others. And the primary ones, I suspect, are going to be the ones that affect the citizens in a positive manner. And you'd look at, I don't know, education, healthcare, things that directly affect the population. Are they happy living there? So you have to sort of look at these and see how do you compare these with other nations, and then you can say, well, they're consistently top of this table, and then from there you say, well, that must be a great country to be in if the citizens themselves love the country in such a way that they continually boost it to the top of these rankings, and their standard of living is higher than most other nations. They have good health care, good education. The government looks after them. They feel great about where they live. Then yeah, then that would, I suppose, in the eyes of the citizens, would make the country great. But then all equally, you'd have to look at how other countries view that third country and say, well, that's a great place to live because the way that they treat their people, maybe I wish my country was like them because that's a great country to live in. And so this is this perception of greatness, I suppose. Who I mean, do we in the UK have an advantage because we're called Great Britain? Hey, we're great already, are we? I'm not so sure about that.
That's not what great means, by the way.
Sorry?
That's not what great means in
No,
Great Britain.
no. I know, but I'm
Okay.
just using it as
How
a
about
as
you
a
didn't know, but not some. I mean, the person in Libya, well, it is Libya, isn't it?
yeah.
The person in Tripoli might not
Yeah.
know why it's so.
Please explain what's the difference between the term great as a country and Great Britain?
Well, great is as a country, is the totality of its land area. That is to say, you could have Britain and then you could have Great Britain. So Great Britain would be the bigger sort of Britain than just Britain. And I think the just Britain would have been, sorry, not would, it still is Wales and England together. There's two countries together, it's Britain. And then Great Britain is Wales, England, and Scotland and the Channel Islands.
Islands, yeah.
So that's Great Britain. And then when you tack on Northern Ireland, you know what we get?
United
The
Kingdom.
United Kingdom. So
Isn't that useful for all our listeners around the
it's
world? Bit confused as to what? What does that mean? Yes. So the great doesn't mean we're a great place to live, although we've put it in the name. It means something completely different. So yeah, based on those thoughts, I mean, how does America actually rank if you're going to do that? So what makes it great? And was there a time in its history that it was deemed as great? That's what we sort of have to work out. Was there? I mean, how does it rank now? Let's sort of a straw poll. How does it
okay.
rank?
So here is what I have done. I've asked various AIs what they think. What does great mean? And they pretty much fall down. They all converge on this idea that a great nation is one which has high indices in areas that are important to its citizenry. So they wouldn't agree with me, I suppose, not that I've asked, they wouldn't agree with me that Tonga is necessarily great. Now, if you're listening in Tonga, don't forget that I'm on your side. It's the AIs that are getting on your case, not me. Okay? They're like, no. You got to be able to categorize the indices so that you can compare them. Like I think you mentioned is that you have to compare the nation with other nations
Yeah.
and see where it lands. So we've got things like the quality of life, safety and security, happiness and prosperity, equality and inclusivity, governance and society, things like that. Okay. So I thought to myself, hey, well, I'm a facts and evidence man, and I really love objective standards, not subjective ones. So, objectively, how do we look at this? Wouldn't a great nation be one that is consistently in, say, the top position, the pole position, or in the top
Or at
five?
least in the top five. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So we started off. I started off with what did I start off with?
I don't
Well, the first one,
know.
quality of life. Sorry, I started off
Yeah.
with quality of life, and I said, well, where's the United States in the quality of life? Where do you think it is, by the way?
It's
Number what?
actually quite low.
It's all right. It's not too low. It's number 17.
Okay.
And this is the ranked rank who says who? Well, it says the Human Development Index for 2023. which was published in 2025 in the Human Development Report, because it takes a couple of years to trickle down
Yeah,
and
that's right.
sort things out. So, so there we are. It's number 17. It's not even in the top 10.
Mm.
And as usual, the usual suspects are top five, which are all Northern Europe: Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, Denmark, and Germany. And of interest, if those are interested, the first sort of non-European, because Australia is counted as sort of European, even though it's not really in Europe, is it? But it's still sort of European Caucasian kind of society. That's number 7. So the first country you get to that is not European is number 9, and is the only one, Hong Kong, which is a
Okay.
bit of a surprise. And then it starts, yeah. So then, hold on, did I say number 917? No, number 19, United States. Sorry, number
All
19.
right. 19.
I'm going to drop out of the top 20 in the not too
A
distant
question for
future.
you. Is Canada above the
Yes,
US in the list? I
number
thought so.
16.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
sources, let me
Yeah.
just copy that, I think, as we always do. And Tony will be able to stick that onto the blurb for
Yes.
anyone who's interested. There we go. Yeah, so there we are. So, quality of life, not that great.
Interesting. I mean, it does that. I mean, the list I had was. I mean, that doesn't benefit the population directly. Is
Hmm.
economic power, military power, and wealth. And obviously, those they are the first, but then they spend the most. So, but that doesn't directly affect the living standards of the people on the street, so to speak. It's their view that is the one that counts, really, as to whether a nation is great or not. And the corruption one, I've got a corruption
Hmm.
figure, corruption perception. And out of 180 countries, it's ranked 28th. So for
In corruption.
corruption, hmm, see, that doesn't bode well. That either means that the the companies are taking advantage of the system,
Ah,
and it does. That means that the system hasn't got enough rules and regulations to inhibit corruption, because corruption at the end of the day is where somebody is trying to gain illegally from somebody else, and victims tend to be innocent people duped. They Organizations could be duped, and that's normally through lack of governance. So if you don't put enough rules and regulations in place to stop this sort of thing, then corruption is more prevalent. You find that there's less corruption in states and countries where the rules and regulations are tight, although people, by their nature, want to get ahead in some cases, and do so with means that aren't the best, if you know what I mean. Um, Environmental performance. This is one that's interesting. This is a recent one. And out of 180 countries, they should be the standard bearer, but they're 35th.
in what?
The environmental performance. So what they do for the environment and how they,
You
you
can't
know,
even drink the water in Flint, apparently. I don't know if they've even fixed it
I
yet.
don't know. I don't know. So
Good
that's
grief.
not good.
Well,
Yeah.
this is part of the corruption thing. So, when you say there were what did you say? There were 20 something?
Corruption, 28th.
28th in corruption. I find that really hard to believe, because that means that somebody somewhere is finessing the definition of corruption. If lobbies can pay politicians openly to support positions which are inimical, I think that's the word, inimical. Is that how to say it? Anyway, which are not good. Inimical, yeah. Which are not good for the the politician's constituents, but money is money, and that's an open thing. I mean, that's corruption. You're not working for the good of the people, which clearly you're meant to be doing. I mean, you're drawing a salary and you've been voted in to do your best for the people of this state or wherever, whatever you're representing, and you're not, basically, because you're just taking money from lobbyists.
I know. That's not good. That's clear corruption
It's clear corruption.
and yeah, you should be serving the people who elected you, and if you're trying to appease a few high donors, then you're taking money candidly and being, you know, yeah, it's corruption. That's corruption is its true sense. So, but the 28th out of 180 nations, that's not good. Peace and stability. This is a good one. Where do you think the US ranks out of 162 countries that were
Really low,
looked?
because obviously, no. I mean, seriously, no. I don't think they've been top 50, to be honest.
132nd
Yeah, I don't
out
know.
of 162.
That's not too
That's
far away
near the
from blooming
bottom.
Pakistan, isn't it? Or something?
Oh, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Human rights. Now, this is supposed to be the land of the free, democracy. Human rights. Where are they ranked out of 87 who actually were actually in the
I'm guessing
consensus?
the 40s or something.
21st.
24. Okay, well, better than expected.
But
But
they're
that's
supposed to be
human
the,
rights in their own.
yeah,
That's a
human
human
rights.
rights in their own country to
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
But when you look at what they're doing outside their country, I don't think they would even
No,
get that high.
no. It's, I mean, it's not good, is it? It's not good. I mean, these, okay, we're taking a dig here, and America's not
Angus
the
Dean.
only one. There are a lot of other countries as well that aren't doing quite
Isn't
as
that
well.
whataboutism?
How do you mean?
Well, you say, yeah, America's not that bad. What about this country? What? No, who runs around saying we are the greatest? We, make America great again. Blah blah blah. So, as advertised, we don't need to compare them to anyone in the sense of, well, these other countries are not doing very well, because what other countries are running around saying that the world should kowtow to us because we are the greatest and we are great. Who
Well,
else is
they
doing
want to
that?
make themselves the greatest back again, make themselves great, but then that, you see, the question has to be raised again. Make America great again. That's what the MAGA movement is. So
Mm,
that means make them great again.
meaning that they're not great now, and they
Yeah, they're not
recognize
great now,
that.
but they were at some point in history. But we're
Were
trying
they
to,
though?
exactly, we're trying to find at when in history were they great. So what are the MAGA supporters looking at? What are they want to get back to in order for them to believe the country is great once again? So what is their standard? Where's the standard that they're hoping to get to? What is Trump promising? Making America great again, and his base are following. What is it? What's the greatness? Where? What time period? Is it a specific time in the past? When is it? And this is what isn't clear anywhere.
I think
For Go on.
I think whether by instinct or whether I've just absorbed it through osmosis, a sort of cultural osmosis, I think most MAGA supporters, white working class MAGA supporters, would be thinking about the 50s and the 60s, because that's in recent memory. That's when America was good, I suppose, for them, for the working class white person. When Detroit was pushing out cars and that were the envy of the world and things like that. They just won. Well, they claim they won the Second World War, but as it turns out, that could have been Russia, by the way. Then they've got sent men to the moon. I think they went to the moon, but that's some question in some people's minds. Everything was hunky dory. Women were women, men were men. You know, we knew our asses from our elbows, at least they did. And
So is that
the
what they mean then? When they want to get back to being great again, then they're looking at maybe values and things like that. So not necessarily a country that was great as far as, everything was lined up. They had the perfect healthcare, the perfect taxation, so it wasn't something like that. It's more a feeling of being great, where
Yeah.
they felt important and they made a difference.
No, they
That's
were
what.
they were important. I mean, it didn't really start going wrong for America until they lost the Vietnam War. That's when it started going downhill. But even then, it still had a great moment when they saw the Berlin Wall come down and they defeated basically the Soviet
Soviet Union,
the
yeah,
Soviet Union,
yeah.
and they won the Cold War. So with Reagan saying all those things he was saying and throwing his weight around a bit and so on and so forth, at that point, America really was top dog, wasn't it? So that from when who was it that signed? Gorbachev, when he signed the treaty, the peace
Well, he
treaty
didn't.
with
Well, yeah, he didn't. He no longer wanted to be at war, be in the Cold War. He wanted to
mm,
be available and open for business, I suppose. And
yeah,
rather than America dropping dropping down and going, okay, we'll agree with that, they knuckled down and actually thought, well, we'll defeat him even more now, which wasn't a
yep.
good practice. So you're saying that at that point they lost their status of being great. So they were great round
No,
about
no, no,
that
no.
period.
Sorry, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is what make America great again is a world where America can dictate to others, and that is externally and internally. The specifically, let's be honest, white Americans feel that the country is theirs and they've got incomes that match the American dream. A man in those days could go to work and pay for two cars, one for himself and one for his wife, pay off the mortgage, and send his children to school. Now, two working parents can't do that. They still got to get into debt. So, whilst the rich in America have got even gotten, I think, is just got have become even richer, so obscenely
Yeah.
richer, the people, I mean, the middle class has been hollowed out, and there's not seem to be much that anyone can do about it. So because it's a uni party, instead of not two, they don't have two parties. There's a uni party thing, and so a uni party meaning I think we have the same thing in Britain. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter who you vote for; you're going to get the same policies. That's the essence of a uni party. So white Americans, the working class Americans, are looking around thinking, this isn't how it used to be. They remember their parents. This is not how it used to be. It used to be like we could do this, we could do that. Make America great again is fundamentally bring us back to that happy state when the nuclear family was something and money meant something, the dollar meant something. By the way, it's lost 10% this year against major currencies. So
The thing is, though, the thing is, has Trump actually promised anything where of note that is what he's going to do?
yeah, it's
I
been
don't think
shouting
he
all over the
has.
place it's going to make America great again.
Yeah, but
So
he
whatever.
hasn't
So sorry.
said, he hasn't actually said what great means and how it's going to benefit his supporters. All he said was he's going to make America great again. But he
Mm-hmm.
hasn't defined what that great actually means.
I don't
What
think
he,
you.
go on.
I don't think you're asking the right question. I mean, you're probably hoping that someone would ask that question, and then he could tell them anything because he tells you one thing, and then 20 minutes later, it tells you something else. I think the question he was dreading is make America great again for whom?
Well, for
that,
who?
that
Yeah.
doesn't turn out to
For
be for the
who?
ordinary.
For who? Do you know
That turns
what?
out to be him and his billionaire friends.
Yeah.
So
Excuse me. I mean, what's actually passed through the Senate today? Was it
oh,
today? Or no, just 2 days ago
the big
was,
beautiful bill or something.
oh, even Elon Musk, who's a supporter, has condemned this. It's insane. I mean, I know they're trying to cut government spend, right? but they're taking away from the very people who need it the most to give tax breaks to the rich and wealthy already. Why? They're already rich and wealthy. You're giving them a tax break. Okay, great, give them a tax break, but don't take it from the vulnerable. That's exactly what they've done here. They've actually taken money, tax break to the rich and famous, oh, famous, but rich people, and taking it from the healthcare insurance and Medicaid and things like that, food stamps. What? How? What? In any person's worldview, is that a good thing? Come on, I know they have this philosophy. They have this philosophy that the government and the state should be small. You should leave the money in the hands of the individual. I get that. And that's actually a noble way of doing it. You don't want to take tax unnecessarily. However, you've got vulnerable people in society that need help. And as soon as you then give money to the wrong people, i.e., those entrepreneurs that know how to earn it anyway, what you're doing, you're giving them a break, more money, so that they can what? Create more wealth for who? What? Employ more people? Yeah, but there's people in society that are vulnerable. Why are you taking it from them? It's your duty as a government to look after the vulnerable. If you then abandon that just for the sake of, oh, I want to make small government, then why are you even there? Why are you there? Just, hand back the keys, walk out and say, we don't need to spend any money because we're doing nothing for you. It's just nonsense. I get you want to reduce the waste, fine, but not to the point where you're now ripping the food out of kids, because there's going to be kids. Kids are vulnerable. There's people on the poverty line who are going to be even worse. There's going to be people who cannot even get checks because they cannot afford insurance for health. They're going to die early. I'm saying this now. I'm not being horrible. It's a fact. They're going to die early because they have no insurance because the health care now is being taken away. It's insane. Insane. Who is this helping? The rich. Do they need the help? No. But that's exactly what they're doing. It's just and this is supposed to be making America great. Remember, this is Trump's actual policy. So how's he making America greater by this? It's just nuts. I'm sorry. So they're not making America great, and the fan base are following him because it's a cult. He's set up a cult. And I'm having a bit of a rant here, but he is. He's set up a cult. And the supporters of him have now got so deep in this persona for what he stands for, they cannot see the wood for the trees. They just can't, because he stood up for them and he's fighting for them against the establishment because they're down and out effectively. But he's not fixing it for them. He's saying, I'm the bastion, I'm the savior, I can attack the system, I'll beat up on all those people. But what is he actually giving those supporters? What's he giving them? In reality, what is it? This bill isn't giving them anything, but they still support him blindly without questioning once, what is he actually providing? What is he providing the man on the street that they can benefit straight away? What is it? Still can't see it. It's just crazy. Sorry, I've gone on a rant.
It's all right. No problem at all. For once, it's you rather than me. Well, here we go. You see, I keep flipping between two extremes, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. One second I think Trump's an idiot. The next second I think he's faking it. I always call him Zaphod Beeblebrox. And I think he is a Zaphod Beeblebrox, president of the galaxy. If you remember from Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Guide, yeah.
to the galaxy, president of the galaxy. Because like Zaphod Beeblebrox, you can't believe that someone in that position can be that seemingly foolish. It's very hard to believe it. And sometimes I think to myself, they can't all be that stupid. I mean, everybody in the White House, all the people around him. So is there a hidden agenda is there something they're trying to do? Someone suggested, and I think I may have mentioned this before, I'm not absolutely certain. Someone thinks that he's actually trying to crash America, that he wants to bring America to the point where they will be able to say, well, that's it. We don't know anybody that's 32 trillion any longer. We just can't do it. So, sorry, folks.
Wow.
And that's that.
I'm not sure about that. If they do that,
It
then they'll
seems
be
to
a
be.
pariah. If they can do
I
that
don't think
and
he
can
cares.
work
This
it,
is Fortress America. He's pulling up the drawbridges. Does he really care? He's pulling up the drawbridges.
this is authoritarianism, though.
He's moving away from. He's just told Ukraine, basically. Sorry to use harsh language. He's just told Ukraine to get lost. They're not going to send them weapons anymore.
Well, only
I
some
mean,
weapons he's stopped sending them,
well,
isn't it?
okay, some weapons, but if Ukraine is up against the
Dependent,
wall,
yeah,
and this,
dependent, yeah.
to be serious, if you're trying to help them, that's not been very helpful,
I mean,
right?
yeah,
because see, yes, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm looking at what he's doing, and I'm thinking that he can't be doing this. The tariffs. Everyone's been explaining to him that you're not levying foreign nations. You're levying Americans. You put a 20% tax levy tariff. Sorry, you put a 20% tariff on some goods coming to the country. Americans pay it. No one else.
I know.
He, he's
Well, the
not. He's not.
consumer
He,
does.
he's not that stupid. I mean, he's who knows whether he's even stupid at all. He must have got it by now. So somewhere he must have got it. He must have internalized it by
I
now.
think,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
okay,
some
that.
of the logic behind that, though, it does, he does realize that if you're a foreign country and a lot of your business is with America, then, if there's a tariff on your goods and services, yes, the American consumer will pay for those services. So they may say, okay, that's too pricey, I'm not buying it. So if you're a third country that you rely on the sales with America, the tariff will then impede your sales. So you're just not selling as much. Now, if that's a big part of your GDP, then obviously you will want to have a deal, or you'll maybe move your manufacturing into the US in order to negate those tariffs. So I get what he's doing in that respect, but he is penalizing his own base by having the tariffs short term, because if there's no alternative, I mean, if you're buying a car, a foreign car and a US made car, all of a sudden the foreign car costs 20% more than it did yesterday. You would now go, okay, I'll consider my options. I might stick with American brand because it's made here. So I get that. There's choice. But then there's some things he's put tariffs on whether it's not produced in America at all. So now the consumer has no choice. They have to pay the tariff because otherwise they're not going to get that thing that they need because it's made overseas. So they are going through the pain of paying that additional tariff. So yeah, he hasn't grasped that yet, which is really odd. You'd have thought he'd put the tariffs on the things that already exist in the
Well,
US, but
there's
that's a
this
separate topic.
there's this politician. You see, I'm going to interrupt myself because my train of thought is there's this politician called Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Taylor Green, is she actually all there? I do wonder about her sometimes.
Well, why I interrupted myself is that I was going to say, actually, how many of their politicians are exactly like that? You ask yourself, are they all there? I mean, you start with Trump, and it's like, is he all there? Because that's what we're saying. Basically, is the man all there? Joe Biden, was he really there? Pamela Harris, what the hell was that? Okay, all these people, you go like, what? I
Is this
mean,
the best you can do? I mean,
and
that's
then and
that's
then
the
every now and
question.
then one of them says something. You go, that's actually quite intelligent. So what's going on? You see what I mean? That Zephyr Beeper-Brooks
Yeah.
syndrome. So what she said was, oh, she was having a bit of a rant, and she was going, well, this man is an idiot. He's gonna put tariffs on bananas. We don't grow bananas in the US. Why have we got tariffs? What are we supposed to do? And she was so plaintive about it, like, yeah, I can't go shopping. This has gone up. It's like, what? What? you know, yeah, you're right. By the way, about the tariffs, and you said American cars. I saw a video, I watched the video, and someone had broken down a typical, I don't know, was GM or I can't Chrysler, somebody had broken down a car and laid out the parts on the floor in a huge room. And I don't know, some horrific number, like 8,000 parts or something, right?
It's loads, yeah, there's
Yeah,
loads.
loads of parts. I said, you know what? Like 70% of these things come from foreign nations. So
I
you say,
know.
yeah, the car is an American car. It's not. And apparently, I think it's the inner part of a wheel of yes, of a wheel, not the tire, but the wheel itself. The anything. Apparently, that crosses borders 3 times or something. I think it comes from Canada, starts off in Canada, goes to Mexico. The Mexicans do something. They send it to America. America does something, sends it to Canada, and then it comes back in. And then it finally gets put on the car.
See, that's crazy, isn't it?
And
But
then he
then
said, like,
that's
so what? Is every time it crosses the border, the guy this guy in the White House is going blah blah blah. So yeah, I don't know what the guy's doing. Like,
it,
I don't
it
think the
is
guy knows what he's
bonkers.
doing.
But I mean, the
Sorry?
tariffs is a heavy-handed way of doing stuff. But we've discussed that before. I still want to get back on point here as to what makes America great. And
What
I
made
do
them great,
have some
surely.
information where they were viewed in a favorable terms, for instance.
Okay, go on.
So, I mean, there was a time post-war,
Which
where
war?
post-war, Second World War, post-war,
Okay, because the First World War, they
they,
were in there too.
yeah, they were. But Second World War, they were shown to be an economic powerhouse.
That's what
But
happened, isn't it?
they were, yeah, because they created the Marshall Plan
Oh, yes, well,
to
basically saved
save
Europe.
Europe. Yeah, to save Europe. After the devastation of the Second World War, they set up a program, and in today's money was about 130 to 140 billion dollars to revitalize the Western European nations after the Second World War because they were on their knees. And it was twofold. One, obviously, because America didn't want them to fold into the Soviet Union, because Soviet
Mm,
Union now was half of Europe. But also the other initiative behind it was if you rebuild these nations quickly, they will buy your products.
yeah.
So American products could be sold to those countries quite rapidly after they've had the injection to stimulate their economies. And so that did work. So that was viewed by the rest of the world quite favorably, that the US had great global influence and respect for doing this. They didn't need to do it, but obviously they didn't want Western Europe to fall into Soviet hands.
It was actually a brilliant plan, and
It
it
was
made
superb.
sense,
It
and
made
it
sense.
worked. So yeah.
It was. And that was not viewed. I mean, it didn't really affect the American public straight away, but
Mm,
it did in a way because their products could be sold to Europe.
mm-hmm.
So it did because it did it the other way. Now, I'm not seeing that with this MAGA movement. Instead of opening the doors, which is what America did at that point. So if you want to look at America as being a great nation, that single act could be viewed as a great act on America's part. And so America itself was viewed favorably because of that Marshall Plan. So that was kudos to the US. Well done. So that could be a point that you could say, well, America was great when it did that. So could the MAGA ruling or the MAGA philosophy be they want to be like that again? Because they were great. Their generosity was incredible at that period. They showed great leadership. They even set up during that time, this is how good they were actually. They set up the IMF. They set up the United Nations after the Second World War. They set up the World Bank so wealth could then be shared to the world. See, this was America being great, but it was on the world stage. It was participating. It was leading from the front. MAGA,
I
MAGA now is not doing that. It's drawing in. It's saying, I don't want anything to do with the world. I just want to, isolate ourselves and do what's good for us, not you lot.
I don't have such a sanguine opinion on that. I think everything was carefully calculated and everything was self-serving because those are the same everything you just mentioned, the United Nations, the World Bank, the IMF, these all turned out to be instruments of control in the end. And there was a racist element to this, in that America has always been very helpful towards the Europeans, the fellow white people, but they've not gone out of their way to help anyone in Africa or South America or Asia. And when you think about it, the reason that they're so upset with the Chinese is that the Chinese are taking up the slack. And you mentioned 100 and whatever it was billion, didn't you? 130
Yeah,
was it?
equivalent of 140, of 150 billion in today's money. Yeah.
Okay, but China spends that every single year in BRICS, and not just BRICS nations, in amongst Africa and South America and Asia. How do I know that? I just happened to hear someone mention that very fact, that comparing it to the Marshall Plan, what China does, because China's got all these dollars, and what's it going to do with them? It's not really doing great business with America right now. So it's started creating what is it? Not bonds. What you buy back, you borrow, and then I don't know what they're called now. Securities, is that what they're called?
Yeah, it
Something
might be securities. Yeah, yeah,
securities.
yeah.
So dollar denominated securities, which they're lending to people, but at such really reasonable rates that they're farming all this stuff out, and countries are piling in. So China's, I mean,
Well, it's
China's
not
in
it's not
village Chinese
altruism, is
people.
it?
Huh? Well,
China's
it's the
not
same
doing
thing.
it for altruistic reasons. It's
Well,
always
no,
the same as
they're not.
America. It's for their
Hmm.
own benefit, longer
Yeah,
term. Yeah.
but they're doing it to everyone. It's not color coded,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not cherry picking. They're just doing it for those that are asking.
and
Interesting.
they're doing great business in Hungary, and
But
so
is there
it
a
and
strategy behind this? It isn't just, anyone that's
well, it's
asking
called a
for it.
win-win strategy. It's called a win-win. They don't have a zero-sum game where one of us wins, one of us loses. It's deeply ingrained in the Confucian philosophy that we should both win. I win and you win, because that makes good business and you want to come back again.
Yeah.
So this
Unfortunately,
is what
America's philosophy isn't that. I
is not
win,
that.
you lose. That's
Yeah, but
that's
why?
their
It's not even
view.
sensible.
Yeah.
So
That is
anyway,
true.
I think because I don't want you to suddenly spring on me that we've got no more time left.
Well, we've
See,
got a few minutes still. We're
I've
okay.
got I've got this, that we're not really America cannot have been great since 1947, because since 1947 they've supported a state which I say is illegitimate. It's an illegitimate state. Is based on stolen lands, and they've supported that state, and they've held it up. They've actually, without American support, this state would have died. Properly so, by the way. But America, this is in the Middle East. America has held it up, and to the point now where that state is practicing genocide live on TV, and apparently nobody can do anything about it apart from a few sand dwelling Fremen from Dune. Have you watched Dune, or have you read the books?
Yeah.
You know who the Houthis.
Yeah, yeah.
I think of them as the Fremen, because they really are. They remind me so much of the Fremen, disappearing back into the sands. Like, where did those guys come from? Uh, Fremen are just the only ones that are standing up for these poor people who are just being annihilated, and it's on TV. And because if Donald Trump had really wanted, this is the thing that gets me about Trump. If he wanted to be a great president, he could have faced down that godforsaken lobby in America, because he had MAGA. He had the MAGA to do that. He could have faced them down and said, no, 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 this is going to stop. And we are going to have peace in the region. He might have gone down as a peacemaking hero. He would have left office with everybody singing his praises. He's fighting for a Nobel Peace Prize. The lunatic. Who's going to give him a Nobel Peace Prize now?
Yeah. The thing, the,
Astonishing.
the thing that you see, Trump is the way that he's doing this is strange because what he's doing to his supporters, he's giving them an identity. He's not really giving them policies. He's giving them a collective to be part of, a community,
Yeah. Cult of
MAGA
personality,
community.
isn't it called?
Yeah, he has a cult personality. Yeah, he is.
Cult of personality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mao
Because
Zedong.
he's their guy, isn't he? He's their guy that is going to stand up against the establishment. He's sticking up the middle finger to the system, everybody that they believe has, you know,
Wronged
served
them.
them badly,
Mm.
which is not true, but they believe it. And he's standing up for them against the establishment, against the elites, against the system, the corruptness, the judges, the anyone he can put his hands on. He's the one. He's their guy, and so they're not supporting him as a political leader. They're supporting him as their hero, their savior, their torchbearer. So that's why you can't tell MAGA supporters, "Oh, Trump's not actually giving you anything," because they don't care. He's standing up for them. You with me? He's doing it on their behalf. They want to attack he's made it clear to his MAGA supporters that the establishment's gonna get them no matter what. And so he's their savior and standing in the way to bring them hope. But he's not delivering anything. He hasn't promised he's actually giving them anything. He's not going to give them, better, childcare, more wages, more health care. He hasn't given them anything. All he said is he'll fight for you. What's that mean?
Mm.
What does that mean?
Well, I
Fight for
would say
you
one
what?
thing. I would say one thing, though. I would say that from the point of view of the average white man in America, remember it was a time when everybody was getting on, oh, white men, white men, white man bad, white man bad,
Yeah, yeah.
which for me was like, I don't understand. And don't forget that before Trump, in the 4 years of the godforsaken 4 years of Biden, we were people like me. I don't know about you too much because people like me, we were just heavily censored. We couldn't say anything. This builds up resentment. It's never works. You censor people enough, when it boils and overflows, you will get people who will not listen because Trump has let us speak again. We couldn't say anything. Now, not so much in Britain, but in America, you can say stuff now that you were thinking before, and you can challenge people on the streets. Some bearded
Well,
person
can
comes
you?
up and says, "No,
Because if you're a MAGA supporter, you're in the bubble. You're in the MAGA bubble. You only hear what Trump tells you, and anyone else outside of Trump's bubble is a liar, no matter what. That's
no."
the
I mean, you
problem.
can say to somebody who's got a beard but is in a dress, you can say, "I'm not going to call you ma'am,"
Well, yeah, that's a
which you couldn't do
minor thing.
before.
Yeah, I know, but
But that is a very direct everyday thing that really
yeah.
gets you down. And then when you finally had the freedom to say, "Well, yeah, you're not," you feel something, and whoever gave you that ability has actually made a difference in
Well,
your life,
yes, yes.
which the other person didn't do. It was a very negative difference. So they're cutting him some slack, and then they see that he's trying to get rid of. Well, he says he's trying to get rid of the illegals, and then he's running into trouble with the courts. So that's going to be back on the courts now. He's going to be able to say, "You saw what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah,
even
I'm
in big
trying to
trouble with
do it.
it."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then the
yeah.
courts are like they're holding me down and stuff.
Yeah,
You know.
he's
So
blaming the courts. Yeah,
so
everyone is to blame apart from him.
if
Yeah, I
he
get
can
it.
outsource the blame onto others, he is going to get even more radical support, and he's going to
Agreed.
be able to call the shots until the midterm elections. Then I think everything could change because I'm not sure that the Republicans are going to be returned to.
No, I don't think so. I think part of the problem there is that he's not actually delivering anything to the people themselves, and they can see that. And at the end of the day, it's all well having this rhetoric, I'm going to stand for you. I will beat the establishment on your behalf. I'm your savior. I will do
I
the
will catch a grenade for you. Excuse
yeah.
me, sir. Nobody's throwing a grenade at me. How about you just put food on my
Yeah,
table?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not happening. But anyway, we're digressing slightly from the Make America Great Again. Excuse me.
Well, it was never great. It was never, for whom was
Well,
America great? Enslaved Africans, Native Americans, poor immigrants.
well,
Was
this is
that was
this
that
is
it? Jim
ex
Crow, segregations, genocidal policies against Native Americans, and so on and so forth. When was it great? When the so-called founding fathers signed their, what did they sign? The Declaration of Independence? Yeah, when they
yeah,
signed it, and
yeah.
said this we hold all the, what is this blooming
Magna
thing?
Carta, wasn't it? And that
No,
was
no, 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 no,
the
no. That's America. That's Britain. That's us.
Britain Magna Carta. What's the American one?
The Declaration of
Here is
Independence.
Declaration. Okay, yeah, yeah, from British
When it
rule,
said,
wasn't it?
"We hold these truths to be self-evident," blah, blah, blah. Every man is born free. Yeah, what about your blooming slaves, man? So they weren't
Hmm.
men; they were animals or something, I suppose. It was less than. Oh no,
Yeah.
don't get me great, man. It's a great. If they're American citizens, they didn't sup from the teat of all luxury and so on and so forth. No.
So what?
So,
So
mhm.
what are they doing then? Are MAGA supporters deluded? They're trying to make America great, but in what way?
Well, just
Is
take it
Make
back to the
America great?
50s.
I mean,
Just
it
want to take
could
it
be
back to the
MAG.
50s.
It could be MAG rather than MAGA because Make America Great.
That's a good point, you know. That's a
Yeah,
very, I don't think I've even heard that before. I think that's a splendid point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it's
That's
MAG,
really be great,
yeah,
so to
MAG,
speak.
Make America Great. That would make sense. Not
Mm,
Make America Great Again. Because when
mm.
was it? And that then throws it all up in the air because you then have to look at when was it great that they want to go back to it. Now, if
Well,
it's a
you see,
nostalgic thing,
I praised you for coming up with that. Well done. But you're the same person who was arguing with me when I said it should be all lives matter, not Black Lives Matter. Because blacks, believe it or not, are also part of all. If you make all lives matter, then we can reasonably ask, why did you shoot that person? We don't care what color the person is. You shouldn't have shot him. He was unarmed. Doesn't matter his color.
I think the point of that particular
It it divided people straight away, just like you're saying now.
it did,
Make
it
America
did.
great, then again, instantly divides people. So why put
Yeah,
it in?
yeah.
That's what I'm
Mag.
saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mag.
Make
Mag is a good
America
idea.
Great would have had unless they've used it before, and that's why they put the A on the end.
I haven't heard it before. I've just told you 2 minutes ago. A minute ago, I said, "Wow, that's great. I've never even heard it before. Make America
Mag.
great. I never even thought of
Yeah,
it. Make America great."
yeah.
But maybe
Because
that's too close to America and the love of guns. Maybe in a mag, AK no an AK-47 automatic rifle, AR light for the whatever. My
yeah,
goodness, and
you see, would the nation be a great nation if it has a lot of foreign influence? If it's multicultural and everyone lives in harmony, if their systems are, you know, are uniform, they
multicultural. I doubt it. But if you have people from different races living in harmony under one culture, yeah, because everybody brings a slightly different slant, but there is this one
integrate.
culture.
Yeah, they're
They
integrated.
integrate. So
Mm.
what the mayhem that we have here in the UK is this multicultural nonsense. It's ridiculous.
Well, only if it's kept segregated. That's the problem. You multicultural is fine, but as long as there's integration alongside it, because as you say, you're bringing the multicultural element into an integrated society. But if you then keep the separation, then that's wrong. But that's part of the process of integration. But
I think it's inevitable. Do you know what's going on in Cyprus now?
yeah, 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 I've
It's
heard.
I was do you know what I cracked up. I had tears running down my eyes. Apparently, there's this member of parliament, and he was saying, "Hey, what the hell is going on? They've bought up large areas of Cyprus, and they're building
Israelis.
exclusionary schools and things.
I know that's not good.
You've just arrived and you're already excluding us.
Yeah, that's not
It's
good.
just like, what do you think you're doing? And
Yeah,
I'm
that's not
laughing. I'm
good.
saying to myself, yeah, but you were kind of like supporting them. So, what goes around. Now, who's supporting, who's enabling again? Who's enabling all this? Make America great again. Because at some point, if you supposing, I mean it's impossible, but let's dream. Supposing Donald Trump said tomorrow he doesn't mind if the International Criminal Court picks up Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet. That would set the cat amongst the pigeons. And all sorts of things. I think if he meant it and he said, we'll even help you pick him up, if we ever get lay our hands on him, it's just overnight going to change everything. And the man will go, I mean, I don't think he can do it. He'll probably get impeached in America, knowing how, their politics works. But
But he was
what
already
is
been
what is
impeached.
frustrating is
He's already
that
been impeached. It's not meant nothing.
no, I mean this time with who behind the impeachment. What is infuriating is that they're not that far away from being great. They could be. That's the funny thing about America. It actually could be great. It's just like why aren't you? Well, what's actually stopping you? It's this love of money, this obscene love of money. I mean, the way they treat their own workers. There was a sketch. I think it was a sketch. Or was it a YouTube video? Someone was just comparing someone in Switzerland, I think, or Sweden, saying, "Oh, I've just had a baby," and then say, "Oh yeah, here's your 1 year leave from work. Go home and enjoy your baby and so forth and so forth. And here's the money and blah blah blah." And then the American saying, "Oh, it was a call." So the Swedish woman calls and says, "I just had a baby." So, you just had, it's great, it's boy, girl, blah, blah, blah. And okay, so take a year off. We'll see you, and your income and everything. Don't worry about everything. You know, have a great time. And then the American woman calls, "I just had a baby," and the boss says, "So you coming in tomorrow or what?"
Yeah.
Should we expect you
You see
tomorrow?
that to me doesn't make America great,
No,
does it? It
exactly.
doesn't, exactly. And this is things that they could actually fix, but they don't want to.
Just
They don't. They
is
don't
it
want to.
slavery? Do you think it's because of the way they conducted their slavery? I mean, other South America had slaves, but it was not quite as bad as
I
North
don't
America.
know. I don't know. It's very
Is that
strange.
psychology still there? That psychology of
Yeah. It
is
is
this still there?
strange. It is strange because yeah, they don't treat their actual working people with the dignity they deserve.
Not even a little bit. I mean,
No.
even what they call vacations, we call holidays.
Yeah.
Even those they just could be. Not everything needs to be war. I mean, they've got 800 military bases all around the world. Again, what? Why? How about just make friends? How about that?
Well,
Make
they think that
friends and influence
they have
people.
this fear, this fear that everyone's out to get them, when in reality it's furthest from the truth.
Is it
But they
because
just
they're
want to
out to
win
get
at
other
all
people? So
costs. Yeah. Right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time here. So quick sum up. Quick sum up. How can America be great again when it never was? Is that truer statement or not?
that's a true statement.
Yeah.
Can't make great again. It can be great, but not again. So I think that's the slant that you brought in, which is excellent. America can be so the TNT talk show is not saying America can be great. What we're saying is it can be great again
Again, because it
because it
never
never was.
was. Indeed. Indeed.
Sorry to our American audience. We know that don't want to piss you guys off, that's for sure.
Indeed. Anyway, if you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexpected twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tayo, and we are the TNT Talk Show, but unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.